glasses, kids. What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. We are wrapping up one video and jumping right into the next one. So tonight I want to go ahead and start taking care of a few more cosmetic and little housekeeping issues. So if y'all haven't seen the transmission video yet, you saw in there that we already took the step rails off just so we could get the transmission out, as well as I've already gone ahead and taken the the hood insulation off, just because from what I've heard, they're prone to causing engine fires, and no effects from overheating the hood and the paint baking off or anything. So we're gonna go ahead and take that off, and we might even try to dip into taking the firewall insulation off as well, for the same reasons. But now I want to go ahead and take care of these pinstripes and the body molding, and then a little bit later might do a little bit of reverse leveling. So y'all stay tuned, and let's get to it. All right, so this pinstripe was very near and dear to my buddy's heart. He really does like it, and I told him it's going, and he hates to see it go. It does look pretty good, but it's just not us. So sorry, boss, it's gonna have to go. Got that looking a little bit better. I think it's already looking better. So now I want to take off these little body moldings. So our fix for it, I was picking on my old guitar and popped us a string. So we're going to use the string to hold with two hands, saw back and forth all the way down it. And then we'll have to take the eraser wheel to get the rest of the body molding tape off. So let's get into it. Excellent, excellent. Another thing, I don't really like the placement of the Cummins badge. I kind of like it maybe slid down here a little bit, so I'm gonna peel that thing off, eraser wheel it, and we'll kind of hold it up to where we want to, and we'll just get some more body molding tape and put it exactly where we want it. Got us a little dent from probably whoever peeled off the original one, but I don't know, I kind of like that one a little bit more like that. So we'll go get us some body molding tape and relocate that one. And last thing for tonight, it's a little past midnight, but I'm gonna take care of these little grill inserts. We're just gonna pop them out. We might even leave them completely out, because I do want to get one of those AC condenser protectors. It's like a metal mesh. So yeah, let's go ahead and pop these out. All right, that's looking much more better. Definitely. Might call it for tonight, and then jump on the other side tomorrow night, and we'll go from there. I lied, I'm doing it all tonight. Alright guys, we got our molding off on both sides, and that's kind of like paint stain almost, so I know we're gonna have to wet sand and buff that. And for those of y'all who's never seen an eraser wheel, if y'all are doing any sort of decal removal or body molding tape removal, absolute must here. This is a 3M one. I think I got it off of Amazon or something. This one seems to work the best out of any of the ones that I've used. And we didn't have to use it for the pinstripe because my buddy put it on, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, not too long ago. So it wasn't like baked on like some of the older trucks that have original pinstripe on it. And that little bit of erasing that we had to do on that body molding was nothing compared to what I had to do on that truck. I'll give y'all a little bit of sneak peek, but I got hours behind an eraser wheel on that thing. It was an absolute nightmare. But basically with one of these, I don't know if I can do it. Yeah, can't do it one-handed. But what I like to do is kind of go in a up and down flow and push it this way, because what happens, it ends up kind of balling it up into chunks and just letting it come off the paint clean with no real residue left behind. So we'll get this ripped off and then we're going to call it for the night. All right, so now we're gonna work on taking our coil spacers out. I was able to score these rings at Pull Apart, and I just grabbed the isolators at the same time because most of these, I'm not sure if these do, but most of these coil spacers already have the studs molded into them, so we needed those rings. So let's get into taking those things out. 31 3/8. $31 3/4. Alright guys, so that's what's coming out, that's what's going in. Alright guys, different day, same thing. The other night we got our front coil spacers taken out, so now we're going to start working on lowering the back end down. So let's go ahead and get into it. So my buddy told me he had put these little leaf spring helpers on here because he used to tow with this truck a good bit. We're gonna take them off because they kind of make the ride a little bit rougher, and we're not towing anything heavy right now. But if we do in the future, I foresee us putting some sort of airbag kit on here, so those can go. And to do our reverse leveling, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the load spring out, the overload spring out, and then these little spacers in here will take out, I think you can only take out 2 of them because the leaf spring pins are retained by the bottom one. So we're gonna take all this apart and get into it. And also, we've gone ahead and disconnected our shocks on both sides so the axle can droop low enough once we get the leaf springs, the U-bolts taken off the leaf springs and the axle.
so got the U-bolts undone. I had to ratchet strap my yoke up because it would just, the whole axle would just fall forward. So that's keeping the yoke from just rocking forward. Got my axle completely free, so we're gonna go ahead and unloosen these two bolts. And there's no bolt head on the bottom, so you kind of just got to grip it with some vice grips or pliers or something and zip those bolts off. And then we'll drive the bolts out, which is I don't know if it's I guess it's not attached to this plate, but we'll drive this and all this out so we can get the overload spring out and then these two spacers out, and we'll see if we can take this one out or not, and we'll go from there. So our centering pin is on this bottom plate, so we're not going to be able to take it out. But if you look at this, we're going to be able to take out about 1 5/8 of an inch in the back by taking out the overload spring and these two spacers. And so what we're going to do with these two spacers is move them to the top of the spring pack so we can still use our factory U-bolts and U-bolt plates. So let's keep on with it. All right, so we got this side done, so we'll just hop over there and do the other side real quick, and then go ahead and slap the axle back on. All right, so these are obviously, I'm not getting enough grip on them down here. I don't have any channel locks or vice grips, and my channel locks aren't doing the trick. So what I'm gonna have to do is just come in here and cut some flats on each side with the angle grinder, just so I can get a better grip on it with the pliers or a crescent wrench or something, and then hopefully we can pull these bolts out. And if they're not destroyed enough, we'll reuse them. But worst case, we'll just go to the store and buy some, they're probably, I don't know, 12 millimeter or 1/2 inch bolts, and we'll just use some bolts with a hex head on the bottom of it. So we had to cut flats into our bolts. We got one of them out doing that, but then the other one we just had to cut all together because that thing wasn't moving. So probably just gonna go ahead and buy 2 new bolts, and we'll just put some hex head bolts in here. All right, so I dug through my bolt stash, and these in fact are 1/2 inch diameter bolts, but I found these a little bit shorter ones, and I believe they should be able to work with not as much shank sticking out. So we're gonna throw these in the other side and go from there. So our U-bolts have a few flat spots on them. Yeah, that's a good one right there. That's just where the top plate on the leaf springs was wearing. And what I want to do is just thread file it to where the threads look good, so we don't chew up our U-bolts or our nuts whenever we put the U-bolts back on the truck. we're torquing these to, I'm doing it to 125 foot-pounds. All right, guys, there she is, reverse leveled. All right, I'm measuring from the cab because the bed's slightly higher. So we got right about 30 or 29 and 7/8. At the front, about 29 and, let's say 29 and 3/8. So a little bit of rake, but I'd say it looks pretty good, and it's a lot better than stock ride height. And we do have some wet sanding to do on this, but I kind of want to wait until I get it outside and wash it. You can see how dirty it is, but I want to get it outside and wash it before we do any wet sanding. And a little bit later on, we will buff out the headlights whenever we buff the truck. I don't really want to waste any time right now doing it, just because we got a transmission to build. So we're going to take priority with that. All right, I got all the firewall insulation off. You pretty much got to tear all that junk to get it out of there. And then in this corner, I pulled the inner fender liner out, and I disconnected the coolant bottle to get the rest of the insulation off from that back corner. So, but we got it all clean now. One last thing, we don't shoot Mossberg, we shoot a Winchester, so it's gonna go. And y'all stay tuned. We got some parts starting to roll in from Summit and some Rock Auto parts. And we're about to be jumping into the transmission. Those parts are gonna be showing up really soon as well in the next week or so. So y'all keep a lookout for the next upcoming videos for this truck, because we are gonna move pretty fast on it. All right, guys, well, that's gonna wrap this one up on us doing these cosmetic changes on the truck. Y'all drop a comment down below and let me know whether y'all like it or not, or if we should have stayed with the way it did look. I have always been somebody that likes a lifted truck or raised, so this kind of lowering and reverse leveling is a little bit different for me, but it is all simple unbolting of stuff. So if we ever did want to go back to the way it did look, it's not that hard to just put the old stuff back on and switch some stuff around. So none of this is permanent, but we're gonna see how it plays out. And I am ready for us to be able to pull this thing outside to see how it profiles. But to me, I'd say she's looking pretty good and pretty level. I think we measured, I don't know, about 5/8 of an inch lower in the front. So not too bad. But like I said, guys, y'all hit that like button, drop a comment down below, let me know what y'all think, and subscribe if you are not already, and we'll catch you on the next one.